So every morning I come to the empty page. I come to the guitar and I say, "Where to?" And it's like just hopping in a taxi and saying, "Your choice." And the taxi driver says, "Hang on." What I want when I start to write a song is not to clarify my opinion or state my case. Those are boring songs. I want to be led down some new way of seeing that surprises me. So I come to the guitar asking, is there a place in my heart that I could open, that I have used for storage of old pain and could be used for life and wonder? So that part of my heart has permission to speak. And it's just this practice of showing up and punching in. And sometimes you're catching fish, and sometimes you're just fishing. And so I just come to the guitar and I will say, I'm just going to spend a couple hours, no pressure. And I'll just kind of noodle around and I'll usually find this little thing that I wind up playing over and over. But the crazy assumption that I make is that if I'm moved by something, some little riff or some little idea, some little phrase, if I'm moved by it, I assume that it's because it's coming from a place that I'm going. If I'm moved by it, I assume that it knows something I don't know. And so I want to know sort of more about where this is, what this is opening, And so I take my time, and it's almost like archaeology, You find this little fragment of bone sticking out of the ground. You don't just throw a chain around it, tie it to the truck, and yank it out, because you don't want a piece of this bone. You want the whole dinosaur. You want the whole thing. And so the tools that you use in songwriting are, these little brushes and little, okay, now what's this connected to? And is there, So you're gradually digging down deeper into a specific emotion, and it's usually a specific story, specific characters, where things changed. And so trying to tell that story in 3 minutes is, it's almost impossible. But I love that about songwriting. I love that it's really difficult. And so I will spend days and days and days, because I know that the goal is not to finish the song. The goal is to get to this place in my heart and heal it. And a song, or the process of writing a song, can do that. So then there's this other question of, so what about musical medicine? There's this thing that I do where I make up songs on the spot for people. I will ask them what they're going through. I'll say, I could write a song right now and sing it, and it will never be sung again. And it will just be your song. And so they tell me what they're going through. I ask a few really specific, quirky little questions. And then I kind of feel in my heart, okay, it feels like this against that. There's always some part of the story that it's like, it's this feeling against that feeling. It's like anger versus compassion, or confusion against, I don't want to believe this is true, or some little turning point. And then I'll kind of get the gist of that emotion, and that translates into a melody, or that translates into a riff, and I'll know what tuning it is just by the emotion of it. And then I'll sort of start playing, and I'll get this hunch. I'll get this kind of little spark of an idea, and I just go with it. Don't know where it's going. And I just my job is just to feel what they're feeling, just to kind of be in their heart, and let everything I do be guided by that emotion. And then it's this wonderful ride, and it kind of gets off the road here and there, but finds the road again, and kind of bumps along and gets to something that's surprising for all of us. And sometimes they're cathartic and powerful and just mystical, and the people talk to me afterwards and they say, "How did you know?" And there's just these coincidental references, the images that I picked in the song happen to be part of their story. And I say, well, I didn't know. I just kind of had this hunch and I felt this thing and I went with it. And so that, to me, is the most fun of anything. Musically, it's so satisfying to do that. And yet, when I have a choice of what song to play next when I'm playing for a group of people, I wouldn't play for them a song that I wrote quickly unless I was writing it in the moment for somebody right then. But I wouldn't like repeat something that I had just sort of made up casually. I wouldn't like learn that and then repeat it, because that would just seem like, well, we're not in that moment anymore, and that person is not here anymore. And so if you're going to have a song that's not speaking to a particular person in that moment from what they asked you to sing, then the song has to stand on its own and it has to be really well crafted. So I enjoy both of those ways of playing the game, the spontaneous trusting versus the meticulous crafting. And so you can tell that the way I recorded this Blaze record fits right into that whole assumption of mine of it's got to be one or the other. It's fun that record spans that.